My name is Lindsay Neal, and I'm the Director of Children's Affairs for the Mayor's Office for Education and Children. Together with Denver's Great Kids Head Start, we are excited to share our newly developed video series, Your Journey Towards Cultural Competency, with you. In 1992, the federal government, through its Multicultural Principles for Head Start programs, issued a mandate for all Head Start programs to provide culturally and linguistically appropriate services to its families and students. In 1996, these principles were expanded and incorporated into the revised Program Performance Standards, which became effective on January 1, 1998. These videos are designed to introduce cultural competency and its many manifestations so that together we can serve our communities properly.
Hello, my name is Dr. Al Martinez. I am the Director of Denver's Great Kids Head Start. Cultural competence is integral to programming and service delivery in Head Start. I would like to introduce to you a model for becoming culturally competent that includes three main concepts that come together in a learning process. Culture implies the integrated pattern of human behavior that includes thoughts, communications, language competency, actions, customs, beliefs, and the values and institutions of a racial, ethnic, religious, or social group. Cultural competency can be defined as a set of academic and interpersonal skills that allow individuals to increase their understanding and appreciation of cultural differences and similarities within, among, and between groups. In order to serve the changing demographics in our society, programs must continually strive to meet the cultural needs of our children and their families. Cultural competency creates a multicultural ambiance so that all groups can interact effectively. Culturally competent individuals have a deeper understanding and appreciation of differences. Becoming culturally competent ensures delivery of effective cultural and linguistic services to all groups. And becoming culturally competent incorporates the concept of equal and non-discriminatory services. Dr. Ramon del Castillo will introduce a model that includes the following concepts: awareness, sensitivity, and competency as it pertains to cultural diversity.
As we are aware of, culture is an integral part of our lives. Each day we taste the food, speak the language, practice the customs, and interact with people from different cultures on a daily basis. Doesn't it make sense that we learn to appreciate, embrace, and love different cultures so that we can create a better world? The model and the title of the first video, Discovering the Pathway, developed for the project, has three separate but interrelated parts that intersect as participants begin his or her journey towards cultural competency. This three-part model includes awareness, or a willingness to see things differently, therefore leading us to becoming more emotionally sensitive to human differences, and finally leading to competency. Three critical aspects of how human beings behave. The model is designed to introduce our educators, families, and children to cultural competency so that we can learn to understand and appreciate everyone's culture. Awareness is an ability to perceive, feel, and be more cognizant of stimuli in the environment. It is the uplifting of consciousness through testing one's own findings with openness to revision and receptivity to new ideas. In this model, awareness is the first stage in realizing something about how we view differences and how sometimes we distort those differences. Awareness creates an awakening as human beings, challenging us to become more familiar with our environments. Oftentimes, the lack of awareness leads to stereotypes of groups and individuals. As you now realize, awareness is an important critical aspect of this three-pronged model because it provides us with new insights how to view differences in human behavior, but more importantly, how to embrace and appreciate those differences.
Dr. Winston Grady Willis, a former Head Start student, will share his views on the concept of sensitivity.
Head Start is really important to me, not just theoretically, but because of my own lived experience as a Head Start kid in Colorado. And I can remember the significance of Head Start in terms of the issues of sensitivity, this ability to be able to emotionally respond to different stimuli in the environment, new people, new experiences. Here I was the only black child. There were several Hispanic children, several white children. And so it was a different setting, and it was a chance for me to interact with people of different backgrounds. And just personally, there was something else that was important. I'm an amputee. And when I was young, I've been an amputee since I was 2. And during my Head Start and kindergarten years, there was a time when I had to undergo some surgeries. There were times when I wasn't on my artificial leg. I'd either have crutches, and I felt a bit isolated. But that experience really made me feel like I was part of a larger community. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, irrespective of your occupation, when you interact with individuals who are clearly from a different background than yourself, if you're really looking at the connection between awareness and sensitivity, it's important to, one, acknowledge that the differences are real and important, culturally, that one's heritage is something that, in my opinion, that shouldn't be swept away, but that actually should be embraced. But then when you do that, ultimately, what connects us all, that connective tissue as members of this larger human family, is that we all care about our children. Whether we're teaching those children or we're raising those children. And parents teach children as well as raise them. But we care about our children. And so if we all have our eyes on that key prize, that this is about making these children fuller, more empathetic human beings as they move through their lives, then it's absolutely essential to listen, to really listen, actively listen to what that individual is saying, to not necessarily throw certain assumptions up based on our own cultural backgrounds, and to really respect difference. When you truly respect difference, that's when those underlying similarities that connect us all really come to the fore.
Professor Carol Jensen will discuss her views on the concept of cultural competency as it pertains to cultural diversity.
I think it's really important for us to begin with understand our own personal biases. And a lot of times we don't even know we have biases. We think, oh, I don't have prejudices or biases. I'm not a biased person, but we all are. That is part of our makeup as human beings. And so one of the first things we have to do is just own that, and then spend some time figuring out, what are my biases? Where are my prejudices? What are the stereotypes or assumptions I make about other people and who they are without really knowing who they are? When we talk about competence, it just means the ability to function. If you're competent, you're able to function. But with cultural competence, you need to be able to do more than just function. You're trying to function with other people from other cultures. And what happens to us is that it's just human nature to come from an ethnocentric perspective, to think that whatever I was raised with, whatever I think is the right way, and that other people are wrong. And what we need to come to understand is that being different, first of all, doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're different. And so if we want to become culturally competent, we need to not only understand our own biases and our own prejudices, and even the ones that are unconscious. We all have them, but we have to at least know they're there, and that we do come from this perspective, and start looking at others and their cultures, their cultural values, their beliefs, their practices as not right or wrong, but just as different, but treat it with respect. The bottom line is, if we don't do that, all we end up with is people who are hesitant, resistant, they don't have buy-in to what we're trying to do together. And I think a lot of times, being from the majority ethnicity, we end up not understanding how much we shut down other people, because we do shut them down. They're hesitant to share their values and beliefs and practices with us in the first place. And then if we're not respectful towards that, if they do try a little and we're not respectful, they're gonna close down and not work with us.
Yo pienso que la cultura para mí es algo muy importante.
She always asks us why we speak Spanish.
Para mí, ellos tienen que saber desde dónde vienen.
For my daughters, what I want is to have something when they look back in their childhood and as they grow up and raise their own families, that they have something that they remember.
It's important that he knows where he comes from and who we are.
I hope that our parents and educators have inspired you to become more aware of the importance of cultural competency in Head Start.